Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to Chaos and Order, art by Susan Holt. That is me. Today is Wednesday, and it is May 27th, I think. Could be May 25th. I don't know. I looked at the calendar before I came on here, and I still have no idea what the date is. So it is Wednesday. I am going live early today because hubby and I have some things we need to do this evening, and the time frame is out of our hands. So I did not want to deprive you of my delightful demeanor. So I am here early so you can watch in replay. If you are watching in replay, go ahead and put hashtag replay down in the comments for me. That way I know you stopped by. And of course, if you're watching live or watching in replay, give me those thumbs up buttons, those little heart buttons. Comments, questions are always welcome. I appreciate your interaction with me and your feedback. I absolutely love that. So as much of that as you can, of course. If you watch in replay and I miss a question live because I'm going to be working on some rocks today for you, and the camera will be pointed down at the table, so I won't see your comments necessarily. I don't have my computer in my studio with me, so we're just going to fly by the seat of our pants today. Woohoo! For those of you who are going to be watching live, thank you so much for watching me today. Oh, I see Lori is here. Hey, Lori. For those of you who are watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. Thank you very much. So today I am going to be working on some rocks for you, and I have some exciting news. I'm going to tell you that as I'm working on rocks. It's not going to be anything super exciting today except for the announcement. Well, there's going to be a couple of announcements. So we'll talk about what's going on as I work, because you know I can do both at the same time. So let me move this camera around. Get it to a place where it's going to show you what I'm doing. I think that's pretty good. So today I am putting gesso on these rocks for painting. As you can see, the backs haven't had any gesso and the fronts have just one layer. When I gesso my rocks, I do it for several reasons. The first one is that some of these rocks are very dark, and sometimes the darkness shows through the paint. Like that one's pretty dark, so that dark will show through the paint. And oh, this one's even darker. And the gesso, since it's a white background, really makes the paint much more vibrant. And since these are fun and beautiful, I want to keep them fun and beautiful for as long as I can. And putting a coat of gesso on them makes them even more beautiful. I even do this on the lighter rocks because they are rocks. Rocks are a natural thing. You can see some of these do have some texture in them. And, you know, we artists a lot of the times like a good smooth surface. So the gesso kind of helps even everything out. And honestly, since I'm pour painting these, it's a better surface to put the background paint on. Even if I weren't pour painting these, it's a better surface to put the background paint on. The background paint is just the paint that's in the background of the design. So with my bubbles, the bubbles are in the foreground and the pour paint is in the background. And I need to do a bunch of these, so we're going to do them today. That way they have time to dry, because I need to put on some more designs. And the reason for that is I will be teaching a painted rock workshop at Arizona Artist Guild next month. I don't think the information is up on the website yet, but it's coming up this week, so do keep an eye on that. Since it is a workshop and not a demo, there will be a fee. And if you are a member of Arizona Artists Guild, it will be less expensive for someone who is not a member of the Arizona Artists Guild. All right. So, yeah, look that up. So that is my first announcement, is I get to teach this workshop. Well, it's more like moderate this workshop. Because everybody who shows up is likely going to be artistic anyhow, since it is at the Arizona Artists Guild. And it's just, it's just something fun for the summer. They had a cancellation for a workshop that was already planned. So the president asked me if I could pitch in last minute and do a workshop on painted rocks. So that's something I am really, really looking forward to. So I said yes, and luckily, I'm prepared to teach art at a moment's notice if I have to. It's all good. One of the reasons that she asked me to do the painted rock workshop and maybe not something else is because I have been given permission, and the idea also came from our president at Arizona Artists Guild, to have a rock garden at the guild so that our members and members of the public have somewhere to go to leave rocks, to swap rocks out, all that kind of good stuff. That will likely happen. We'll get that up and running because we have to clear some cactus. And by we, I mean our lovely ceramic sculptor named John, who is in charge of the landscaping at the facility. He has to take out the cactus, and he only has so much time. So I am very appreciative of him doing that. I'm going to paint a sign for it, so it's going to be all official. Plop the sign in the ground. It's going to be right in front of the building so that everybody can participate and see it. So it'll be like a collaborative community art project. Or an art installation. I think that's a better way to phrase it. So I'm really looking forward to that. It's going to be a lot of fun. On top of that, so those are the first two announcements. So we got the workshop, the Painted Rocks workshop in June, and we have the rock garden going in June as well. The Painted Rock Garden at Arizona Artists Guild. In November, and I realize this is a few months out, and this is not on the website yet either, so you guys are getting kind of the preliminary announcements since it was announced last night at the general meeting. In November, so right before or during all of the winter holiday shopping, we are going to have an art fair. So we'll have multiple artists up at Arizona Artists Guild, both inside and outside. And we'll have everything set up either inside or under the awning. Or there will be space for some tents to be put up for artists if they want a bigger space, if they want to rent a bigger space. And we will have a full-blown art fair. We've even got someone coming in who will bring food for sale. So we have a food vendor. We don't have any musicians lined up, and it's going to be during the day, and I want everyone to be able to do business without super loud music around. So I don't know if we're going to have any musicians. That's something I have to talk to the president about. The president of the guild, not the president of the United States. The president of AAG. I don't think we're gonna have musicians or music. Just so we artists can talk to people who show up to the event. And the reason I am saying I don't think I want that is because I'm the one in charge of the art fair as well. So those are the three very exciting pieces of news that I have for you about my volunteer work with the Arizona Artists Guild. And then, of course, I'll be hosting the winter holiday Arizona Artists Guild party in December again this year. So that'll be so much fun. Everybody had such a good time last year that they asked me to host it again before I left for the evening in this past December. So it was good. It was good. So what my goal is for my volunteering at the Arizona Artists Guild is to make sure that the guild is a space that not only is supported by the local art community or the artists in the state of Arizona, but also returns that support and supports us artists in return. So I have ideas, and with the art fair, we needed to get board of directors approval, which we have just gotten. So this is all fresh and new. And once I am done with all these, putting gesso on all these rocks today, I still have some computer work to do before this evening. So, yes, there's a lot going on. And yesterday was our monthly meeting up at AAG. And before the monthly meetings, every month I have a new member orientation class that I teach. And, it's just so that the other artists have a few friendly faces if they come to events or shows or the monthly meetings, classes, workshops, demos, studio time, or take advantage of anything else we have going on up there at AAG. Because when I first showed up, I felt a little bit like I was twisting in the wind. Because I didn't know anybody there, they didn't know me. A lot of times we artists can be a bit introverted and kind of cliquish, but I didn't want that to happen. So I wanted to use my skills that I learned as a Phoenix Art Museum docent back in the day, and a volunteer that helped teach the other volunteers about canine and feline behavior, and was the enrichment coordinator for a couple of local shelters here in the area. So I learned a lot of public speaking skills, and I learned how to be welcoming to new volunteers and new members. So I wanted to bring that to the space that I didn't feel completely comfortable walking into. So yesterday we had 4 new members show up for orientation, and it was fantastic. Most of them actually stayed for the monthly meeting, And I got to introduce them to a bunch of people, and then they introduced them to a bunch of other people, and got them to talking to, this one of our sculptors got to talking to the guy who runs the sculptors group, and one of our new members is new to painting, and he put in his work for the open critique and got some really great feedback and input from the rest of the community, the artist community there. So yeah, it was really good, and they were all engaged. We have snack time. We have snack time in between the critique and then the president's announcements, and then we have a demo. So it's a really fun evening for everybody. I will tell you, I honestly don't stay for the demos a whole lot, simply because they start around 6:30 to 7 in the evenings, and I've already been there since 2:15 or so, and I'm just tired, so I go home. And they're really good demos though, and I do stay for the ones that I really, 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 really want to see and I don't want to miss. And a lot of times they're given by the same instructors who do the workshops and the classes. So they are very knowledgeable artists, and they're good at telling you how they work, what the process is that they use. And I always learn something when I stay for them, but I was so tired last night. I have had such a crazy busy week. I've had such a crazy busy week the last 4 days that I felt myself fading last night, so I came home, had a snack, watched a bit of a K-drama, and then not even a whole episode. That's how tired I was. And then I just put myself to bed and went to sleep, and I slept so well last night. It was glorious. So yeah, I have a lot of things going on. And then I had to go have lunch. Then I got to go have lunch today with a friend who I haven't seen in a month or two. So that was really lovely. And she's just moved back into town. So friend time is always good. Kind of recharges your batteries a little bit. Well, if you have the right kind of friends, which I do. I no longer have time or energy for people who drain my social battery to empty. Oh my goodness. Oh, and I got an offer to buy a painting last night as well. One of the other guild members would like to buy a painting, but she's got to figure out her finances first, and then we'll see what we can do. So all of that just made my night last night. It was a really good night. It was a really good day in general. And yes, my hand does get gessoed as well. I have my little towel on my lap so that I can just wipe it off and not have to worry about it getting on my clothes. I'm kind of liking doing my live earlier in the afternoon. I have I have a lot more energy and my brain is not getting off track as much. So I might play around with shifting the time that I go live and see what works best for you and for me. Because I know a lot of people back east don't watch live because they're already in bed. It's 5 o'clock, either Colorado or California time, depending on the time of the year. That's pretty late back east. I don't know. And since you can watch this in replay, not 100% sure it really makes too much difference when I go live, because it does get posted for a while after that. So tell me what you think in the comments. Should I keep it at 5 p.m.? Should I go earlier in the day? I'll leave that up to you guys. Well, I'll leave that up to you guys to comment on, and we'll see where my brain takes me with it. Excuse me. Oh my goodness. Oh, so if you have any questions for me, feel free to pop them down in the comment section. And then after the live is over today, probably tomorrow, I'll get back to a place where I can read all of the comments and questions and answer them then. I know this isn't the most exciting thing, but almost as watching gesso dry is a lot like watching paint dry. And I know I've talked about using gesso on the rocks before. And I talked about them earlier on in this live show. So when I am done, if you missed that, you can go back and watch that part later. And especially if you're using like a craft store paint that doesn't have some of the coverage of some of the more expensive brands. Doesn't matter. Does not matter. If you gesso your rock or your canvas, if your canvas comes ungessoed, which most of them do come gessoed these days, if you buy canvas off the rack, it comes already with gesso on it. But you do have to watch out what kind of gesso you put on it. Some are just for oil paint, and some are for just acrylic, and some are for both. Canvases come pre-gessoed. Again, some are oil, others are acrylic. So if you're using oil paints on an acrylic gesso, that's okay. But you cannot use acrylic on an oil-based gesso. They just won't stick. Acrylic is water-based, so oil and water do not mix. So if you ever have trouble with your gesso, just read the label, see what it's formulated for. The one I have is just, I think it's for both, but this is good for both oils, acrylics, alkalids, and a couple other things. So I'm pretty safe to use this with most things in my studio. I would not use an oil paint on rocks, but that's just me. Because oil paints remain a bit fluid while they dry and cure, and if you're working on a curve like this, I would be worried that the paint might slip, especially if you're using a thick paint or even a super thinned down oil paint. Just does not seem like a good idea to use oil paints on rocks. I know some people probably do, but that is not my choice. My paint of choice for rocks is acrylic. Dries fast. It's easy to clean up. You don't need harsh chemicals for it. But like I said, that is my preference. And I wouldn't use a like a darker black gesso underneath it. Perhaps a tinted gesso if I was working in real thin layers of paint, but I do not work in real thin layers of paint most of the time, so the white does just fine to make everything lighter, brighter, smoother, adhere better. I'm all for that. And no, for those of you who are wondering, I have not done any more painting on that carnation betta fish piece. I've decided I'm mad at it. I don't know why I'm mad at it, but that's what my brain says. You are mad at it, and we are not going to touch it right now. I'll get back to it one of these days. As I do. I think my brain just has to think about it in the background a little bit more. I have a song stuck in my head today, and it's partially in English and partially not, so I don't know all the words. So my brain just is kind of filling it in with nonsense, complete and utter nonsense. Does your brain do that to you? You hear a new song and then you're like, I remember the melody, but I don't remember how the words go. Then you add another language that you don't speak, well enough to understand a lot of things in it. And your mind just runs wild. Mine does that. Tell people who are just starting out painting rocks that if you can't find perfectly flat rocks and perfectly smooth rocks, that's okay. Just get as close as you can. Something that has a lot of depth, like this one is pretty thick. It's almost the same thickness as this larger rock. And this large narrow rock has quite a bit of a curve up here. It kind of flattens out down here at the bottom. But to someone who's new to art and new to rock painting, that can sometimes be quite daunting. So if you're just starting out with this, a flatter rock like this one or this one is a good bet to go with first. That way you kind of get the feel of your tools, your materials, how they feel going across the surface of the rock, as opposed to paper or canvas or ceramic, whatever you're using. But the good news is about rocks, painted rocks, is you don't have to spend a whole lot of money. If you see a smooth, not polished, just smooth rock and you want to give it a try and you're out and about, if it's in a big pile of other rocks and nobody's going to notice that it's gone, then, maybe pick it up and see how it feels and then bond with it and not be able to put it back down. It happens sometimes. I don't ever take rocks from like in front of people's houses. I just don't think that's polite. But if there's a big pile somewhere, or you live next to a riverbed, and if you do live next to a riverbed and you're going out to get rocks and you find the perfect smooth river rock that you want to take home, I suggest kind of kicking it over with your shoe first, because a lot of times there's creepy crawlies underneath, especially this time of year. And here in Arizona, that means scorpions and centipedes. Quarries will actually sell river rock to people who want to paint rocks. We have a local rock painting group here, and all of the quarries around the Metro Phoenix area know we're gonna call, and they know we're gonna show up with a bucket. Could be a little bucket, could be a big 5-gallon bucket, and we're gonna pick through the pile and we're gonna get the exact rocks we want. So they think we're just hilarious, as men and women who go out there and do that. I'm gonna rinse out my brush before the gesso sets in it. So move this back down. Oh, hello. I see Jamie Lee is here and Dawn is here. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. I know this wasn't super exciting to watch today, but I am very grateful that you have been here listening to what I have to say while I work behind the scenes. I guess if it's in front of the camera, it's really not behind the scenes, is it? So, grateful to have the company. Grateful to have you on my Facebook group. And most of you who popped in are friends of mine, so I'm very grateful that you're my friends. So I think that's going to do it for me today. Next week, I should be back to the usual time, 5 p.m. Arizona's time. Um, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. If I like going earlier in the day, I may change it to earlier in the day. So we're figuring it out. I'm figuring it out. You're going to help me figure it out, and I appreciate your help. So that is going to do it for me today. I'll see you next Wednesday, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week and an artful weekend. I'll talk to you later. Bye, everyone.